Hello Nemo's Reef, this is Kevin. We are here to showcase Randy's 350-gallon acrylic aquarium. It is a giant cylinder. It is going to be a very unique tank. The base is actually a 5-foot wide base with a little bar top that allows Randy to have some drinks, entertain some guests, and have a ledge for us to stand on if we need to get into the aquarium. But the top is this massive 4-foot tall top. And in most cases, it would be overbearing. It would be too much. But in this setting, the aquarium just simply fits. We did a great job with the placement, making sure that it's centered in the room. But I want to go walk through some of the unique properties that we've done with this aquarium here. So we designed the tank with arch rocks by Carib Sea, and these arch rocks create such great openings and caves for the fish to swim through while still giving a very nice realistic reef aquarium. In order to get these arch rocks to actually fit, we custom cut a majority of these rocks so that way they can sit flush against the overflow box and give some nice rigid support for the tank. I really love these 36-inch arches that we put in the tank. This runs almost all the way up to about halfway up the tank. Can you imagine what kind of corals that we can put on this type of arch? The others are going to be some nice little cave settings for the fish. What was difficult with this tank was actually the epoxy work that needed to be done. There's only really a few epoxies with the color of the rocks. So we actually had to custom paint the epoxy to make sure that it helped blend with the rocks and blend with the algae as things grow. But let's go ahead and take a look at the filtration system that we've got for the tank. What's great is this thing will flare open, allowing us to get a whole 360-degree workspace for it. You can't do that with a rectangular tank. So, filtration-wise, we custom fit this sump system. You know, sumps nowadays are actually getting simpler and simpler, I think. With the advent of filter rollers, we don't need the whole big filter sock chamber anymore. So the tank runs with the gate valve all the way down to the filter roller. We'll dump into the protein skimmer chamber. The refugium chamber sits here. So what was unique about this is that we extended the sump and attached a smaller sump for us to move some of the dosing tubes, the probes, the main return pump, the auto top off, all into this one smaller sump. This gives us much more range and much more ease of care when it comes to the equipment. So we've got the refugium. This is going to be our media reactor here. I actually like this a lot. I've added this extra tube just so when we need to rinse the media, all you have to do is stick it into a bucket, run the media reactor until it's clear, stick the tube back in. There's no pre-rinsing media here, and the media is actually rinsed with salt water, so we're not wasting the media and we're not using tap to do so. So we just simply join this sump together. The probes are here, the main return pump is here. So you guys may not know Randy, but Randy is a retired person. He doesn't want to climb onto a ladder to go and feed his fish. That's just unrealistic for him. So what we've added is this special, it's gonna be hard to see, this special frozen food catch that will allow the pump to suck in any frozen food that he puts into that container. That will shoot it all the way through the piping and into the top of the tank. Very cool, very easy to feed his fish that way. So around this backside of the filtration equipment, we've got his calcium reactor setup. We've got the Kimura continuous duty doser. We've got it offline right now because obviously we don't need to run it, but that system here will help take care of the calcium, the alkalinity, the magnesium, everything that's required for growing some corals without having to constantly worry about dosing. But if we need to, we've got the Red Sea doser up top here. It's all tucked away. Since we don't really need to touch the doser, it's all on the app. It makes it much easier. On to the next panel. So this is actually kind of cool. I call it the Nemo's Reef RO stack. So we've got the leak sensor here. This will detect a leak, pop this little bobber, and this will keep any water from escaping this tray should the RODI leak. All right, so then we've got the RO Buddy. This is gonna give us the correct pressure that we need. It's going to flush the unit whenever the aquarium calls for water to help kind of prevent that TDS creep. And then we just custom mount this RODI unit on top of this stack here. So another thing I wanted to mention is I wanted to showcase how quiet our tanks are. I want you to take a listen. We truly do build some beautiful aquariums. The noise level on this tank is whisper quiet, and all of our tanks tend to be whisper quiet and extremely safe when it comes to leaks, floods, trickle noise, equipment noise. Those type of things really make a difference in the care and upkeep of a tank. You don't want a tank to be intrusive. You don't want it to be difficult to maintain or obnoxious to even live around. So all of our tanks are this quiet. Stay tuned for the next clip. We're gonna go and show off what we have up top. It's a little crazy. All right, guys, so I wanted to showcase what we had up top in the giant canopy. So on this really beautiful tank above, it gets so much natural sunlight. We're gonna battle some algae, but I think I have a solution for that. But, so power heads weren't really a good option for us here. There was just no way to get them on the edge of the tank, and then putting power heads on the overflow is a maintenance nightmare. So what we came up was a little bit old school and a little bit new school. So here is my closed loop manifold system for the cylinder. So I chose the Vectra L1s because if you actually set the Vectra to closed loop, you can create gyres, you can do the lagoon, you can do the reef crest modes, just like on the MP40s. So going up here, we've got the manifold system. So I've got a spray nozzle on this end, and then uniquely, I've got a canister filter to pick up any fine particulate matter in the tank, and then that actually runs the UV sterilizer up top. So, you know, in the years of doing this, we usually will put the UV sterilizer in the sump. We will have the UV sterilizer either on the main pump or on its own pump. But in researching dynos, a common solution for dynos is to run a UV sterilizer in the main display. So why not just have one run in the main display at all times? If you see this little hole that's here, it's kind of hard to tell because we blocked it really well, but the closed loop is actually bringing water into the pump from outside the overflow box, but about midway in the tank. That allows the closed loop to pick up any particulates down lower than where the overflow teeth are. And then we also have a special spray nozzle here. that is on a bulkhead that goes through the overflow box. We did that so that you would not see any plumbing or pipes coming down to connect that closed loop. Look at this ladder that I have to use to climb up this thing though. Ridiculous. Anyways, so now the closed loop intakes here, sends it down to that return nozzle, sends it over to this return nozzle, and to the canister UV setup that we've got. That is going to give this guy a crystal clear tank. So then there were some design processes to try to figure out what the best way to get this closed loop set up efficient on this tank. I came up with this acrylic box idea. So this allows us to keep fish from jumping into the box because it provides a nice tall wall for any wrasses or gobies to get out, keep out of the overflow box. It also gives the L1 a place to hang out on without being on the canopies. It kind of prevents some leak issues that may happen. It'll leak right back into the overflow box. But that way it is easy to just pull off a few unions, take the whole unit out, and get into the overflow box if we ever need to get into that guy. So through the center of the tank, we are running a dry overflow, or a dry pipe. That pipe is allowing us to run all of our electrical up to the top of the tank. So yet again, we've got everything nicely labeled. Everything is in our little wire straps. And then up and far away from the moisture of the tank. So we decided to run with the Skies and a pair of Kessels. I wanted to do the Kessels because if you look really close, with the flow, it gives a beautiful shimmer to the tank. That's what Radions are really lacking, is that shimmering effect. So I did like to add that in for Randy here. The canopy opens on both sides so we can get into the tank fairly easily. We'll have an automatic fish feeder over there, and it was not the best, but we had to add this 45-degree support to keep that canopy from wonking back and forth. Fortunately, it's just not painted white, but that's just detail I don't like. Canopy closes up really nicely. So that is what we have inside of the canopy up top. Overall, this is a beautiful system. It gets a great set of sun through the windows there. I really hope the corals will dig it and we can keep the algae issues at bay. But thank you for viewing another beautiful Nemo's Reef build. We hope to come back to you with several more of these in the future, but thank you. Give us a like, give us a subscription, and remember to support Nemo's Reef. Goodbye.